In today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to make these awesome posters all the way from scratch in Canva, where we seem to have that custom type effect. So we overlap the image with the type a little bit and get that cut out. Now you can use these posters in multiple ways. They look very nice and colorful. They really grab attention and talk about the different sports while all having that same feeling, that same aesthetic retro feeling to it. And we're starting from a blank slide. Now first I want to give this a nice background color. So we're going to go for a green, somewhere around here. Let's make it a bit more vibrant. A nice green color. There we go. Now we want to add the words to the slide. So I'm going to press T and then type in the word, let's say golf, and increase it in size. Let's position it on the top of the screen and make it white. Now we want to change the font because this is a very light font and we want to have something more playful. So I'm going to go to fonts and here type in ITC. And then we have some options here at the bottom with the ITC font. And if we play around with those get that playful feeling to it. So I'm going to go for the ITC Motor Corpus. You can choose whichever one you like. Let's maybe do the condensed version, then we can make it slightly bigger. There we go. And position it on top of the image. Now I'm going to create a duplicate. And then let's say here we do maybe golf ball or golf class. You can choose. If the words become a bit too large, you can always reduce them a bit in size so they nicely match both on the top and the bottom. Now we're going to look for elements and here type in golf ball. We're going for photos because we want that realistic effect on the slide. And I'm going to choose one without a background. You see, if we paste this to the front, it already overlaps with the letters a little bit. I'm going to reduce that just a bit so it slightly overlaps. And then I'm going to work on that edge because if we zoom in, we can see that this is a bit weird. And it's not that cutout that we had, so we want to create that. And I'm going to create the same effect for top and bottom here. So now we're going to press C to add a circle to the slide. Increase it, so I'm holding the Option and Shift key on a Mac, and I think that might be Alt and Shift on a Windows or Control Shift. So you scale it from the center. We're going to give this the same green color, and then go to the Position tab here on top. I'm going to Layers, and I'm dragging that green layer underneath the golf ball. And this way we sort of get that cut out. And it looks like we have custom lettering, but actually it's just a layer in between. Now you can play around with the size. If you want to have it larger or smaller, just make sure that you hold the Option key or the Alt key to scale it to the right proportion. Now that we have this already looks nice. We're going to add a few more elements. If it's a poster, you want some information on it. So I'm going to press T again, and then let's say a quote, swinging makes zen, and then align it to the right. So right align. And this we're going to give it a normal font, so it's very readable. Let's say Montserrat. You can always use any other one that you like. Make it regular and then reduce it so we have 3 lines. And the reason I took this quote is because it nicely fits into that pocket. You see we have that design pocket here where we work around the ball. We can always adjust the letter spacing a bit to make it a bit smaller so that everything nicely fits in that bar. You can copy it and maybe add some extra details on the bottom. Extra details, and we do the same, but then we're going to align it to the left. So to the left, and then it nicely fits in here. So we work around that main graphic in the poster that we have here. Shift that down a few ticks. There we go. And now I want to have that, let's say, vintage dust effect. So let's see what we find here, and then go for graphics. And then here we have a nice vintage effect. So I'm going to increase it, make it light gray. This is a bit too harsh. So I'm going to reduce the transparency on it to make it a bit more transparent, and then position it maybe below that golf ball. So it nicely goes below that golf ball. Now you can choose if you want to add it or not. I kind of like that vintage touch to this poster. Now if you want to do this for other sports, that is perfectly possible. Let's say we want to do baseball. Just going to remove this for a second. And we just type in the word base. Here again, we can increase the letter spacing, or we can leave it as it is and just increase the word. So you can do both. Then we're going to look for baseball, photos, because we want to have that realism, and just drag it in. Now this looks a bit too clean in my opinion, so I'm going to rotate it a bit to add some visual intrigue to it. And also the picture, let's make it red in this case. There we go. And then we have that same effect. You can always add that vintage layer and below the picture or the ball itself, and that looks quite nice. So you can see how fast you can create these custom posters. And the same could be done with a bit more odd shapes. So you could do this for basketball, you could do this for football, soccer, you can do this for anything. But if you, for example, go for American football, you have that different shape ball, that is also possible. So let me show you how to do that one. So let's delete this for now. And let's change this to foot. Usually you sort of want to calculate the letters a little bit so the word isn't extremely long or short, but it nicely fits there. And if we then look for a shape, football, and we fit it in, you see that it doesn't make sense to use that circle anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate it a bit as well. Let me just make this green so you can see what's happening. And I'm going to reduce it here on the sides to make it a bit more oval and increase it again. So it nicely fits around that shape. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the closer you can get it to that shape, the better the effect will be on your final result. So I'm going to do it just like this. And then we're going to make it red as well. Or maybe if you want to make it blue, in this case, let's go for this one. Give each one a different color. You see how that nicely fits? And that's what we want to create. And then position and send it to the back. And now let's preview those results that we have. And this is how you can create these really nice posters in Canva. They have a bit of that vintage or retro feel to it, but I think they look really nice and you can customize it to the shape that really fits the topic as well. So thanks a lot for watching, and if you want to learn more about Canva, make sure to drop a follow and watch the video on the screen right